You're tuned to KSJE, Farmington, New Mexico, 90.9 FM. And now 103.3 FM, K277CR, Durango, Colorado. Keep an eye on the Animas River as the Pirates of Penzance land in Farmington this July. Gilbert and Sullivan's Comic Opera opens July 7th in Lyons Wilderness Amphitheater, with performances Thursday through Sunday through July 31st. The show features pirates, policemen, and absurd adventures. There's more Jolt-worthy entertainment coming in August when Annie takes the stage at the Farmington Civic Center. Find out more at visitfarmingtonnm.org and jolt your summer. KSJE is proud to support the Summer Terrace Concert Series, Saturdays at the Farmington Museum. Country and rock music by Terry Rickard, Saturday, July 9th. Soul Jazz from the Fets Extet, Saturday, July 16th. The Summer Terrace Concert Series at the Farmington Museum, 3041 East Main Street, Saturdays this summer from 6 to 7:30 p.m.
Welcome to Cop Shop. I'm Nicole Brown, the Public Information Officer for Farmington Police Department. And with me, as always, is Chief Hebbe.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You know, I was walking in today and I was trying to think, how many years have I done this?
How many years have you
So
done?
we've done it for 3.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah.
And it was maybe another 3 before that with Georgette.
Yeah. Wow.
2 for sure.
We haven't had Georgette on in a while.
We have not. We should.
Yeah, Georgette, we need to invite you back on.
We want to have a shout out to Candace. Candace is working hard back at the PD, keeping things safe for me. So she always listens, and I almost never acknowledge it, so that's on me.
Yeah, she deserves acknowledgement. Candace is amazing.
Candace is great.
Also, I have to give a shout out to my honey, Jason. It's his birthday, so...
There.
Happy birthday.
Go ahead and sing happy birthday.
No,
like Marilyn Monroe.
I already sang happy birthday to him. But
Well, we are about to have a very colorful show, folks. But, I can't get her to do it.
No, not today. Sorry.
And so how old? Because I know you kids are, what are you, 26? 27?
I won't reveal Jason's age, but I will say that my 20th high school year reunion is, or my 20th, I don't know, however I said that, I don't know what I said. Anyway, it's this
It's
year.
been 20 years since high school.
It's been 20 years since I graduated high school. My 20-year reunion is this month.
There. This is a half-hour show,
hard.
but we spent 20 minutes just kind of sorting through that.
Yeah, it was real hard to get out. I'm old.
So, I hate that statement because it's much more true for me. But we had, speaking of old, because I was tired at the end of the weekend, we had a very busy weekend here in Farmington, and the PD was scrambling around. We had a lot of overtime that our officers were working to support a number of different events.
Yeah, the Freedom Days in the city of Farmington was amazing. We had a great time. We kind of kicked it off with the ice cream social. And where you were in the dunk tank.
I was in the dunk tank.
How was it?
You know, it was wet.
Was it?
It really was. I think Scott has a video up that he took. I didn't even know he took it. So it's kind of an interesting dunk tank, but it has a clear section where you can see the person going down. There I am going down into the water.
Look at that. Slow motion and everything.
And I go all to the bottom. The water is just spilling out.
Look at you kick your feet up and everything.
I did. The kids like it, the more dramatic the fall. And so I'm not an actor, but I can do drama.
Look at that.
There I am coming back out. So it was an hour solid of set the thing up and jump back up on it, and then the next kid would come up and throw a ball and splash, I'd go back down into it.
I noticed that Chief Hurd, or Deputy Chief Hurd with Farmington Fire was right behind you there, setting your seat back up for you.
He was. I was struggling with the, it's a vice grip that holds it. So it's not quite the tip-top operation that you maybe would have hoped, because it's all string and vice grips. So he was helping me because when he wouldn't help me and I'd sit on it, it would collapse on its own and I'd go back in the water.
No one had to throw anything?
Yeah, so shout out to Brandon Hurd with fire. I don't always give fire the props I should give them. Is that accurate?
Wow, I'm glad we have this recorded.
We need to have your dad on again.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
cycle through some guests again. Yeah.
Kind of the Johnny Carson kind of farewell tour thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, but in any event, the ice cream social was busy. You had the mayor that was in there. You had the county manager, Mike Stark, that was getting dunked quite a bit, and then Brandon Hurd. And I'm not sure who else, if they had other dunk candidates. Scott there was some public acclaim for Scott, but
Didn't happen, though.
Didn't happen. Yeah.
Otherwise, engaged that day. I'm sorry.
Yes.
He was the videographer. He was the videographer.
Of course.
That's interesting. As long as next year, as they say.
Always actually. That's true.
But so it was good, and I think we were raising money for somebody.
I know you asked me this question last time, and I told you I'm going to tell you the same answer I gave you last time. This wasn't arranged through your P.I.O, so I don't know.
Just a little attitude today, folks, on July 8th. So no, this one was kind of a direct.
Yeah.
A direct reach from the assistant city manager, was trying to get poor Barrick to do it, because Barrick had been filling in for me as chief when this was proposed, and I relieved him of the duty. I don't mind getting wet, and so that kind of phased Nicole out of it.
It did. It's okay. It was all kind of above my head anyway. So.
Yes. And then later on that night, so I went home. I threw all my wet clothes into the dryer, and then I threw on a new uniform and came back out, and we had the Chevelle Shepherd concert.
Yes.
Which was huge.
It was. We had a really great turnout. The city really showed up to support her, which was great. And we had lots of officers out on patrol to make sure it was a safe event and everyone could enjoy themselves. And it was really fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was hot, but they kind of caught it. I think she started performing about 7. People were queuing up for hours before that, so I'm sure people were hot, but everybody was well behaved. We had no incidents, which is really something, because it was a free concert. As many as wanted to attend could attend, and it was a big crowd. But no incidents. So I was proud of San Juan County and Farmington, and I think we had a good show.
Yeah, I think it was. And then afterwards, she stayed late signing autographs and taking pictures with people. So it was a really good time. I think a good investment, I think, on the city's part for the community.
And you were out and you weren't performing P.I.O. functions.
I was not. I was the tactical dispatcher, which luckily I didn't have to do much, but there if we needed me. And then for the next night we did the fireworks, and I was tactical dispatch for that too. And it was fun.
Why don't you explain what is tactical dispatcher?
So you're out in the field, essentially typically dispatches at the center, and we just communicate over phone and radio. But if you have a big enough scene or a big enough operation like the concert or the fireworks, that kind of stuff, Connie Mack is another one where tactical dispatchers come out. So they come out to the command post. We have lots of radios set up in there, and they monitor kind of the side channels, because it's just a little too much to radio traffic and just information being exchanged for it to stay on the main channel that fire and police are designated just on regular operations. So they monitor those channels, and if there's any incidents kind of within the area that we're patrolling or the event or anything like that, then that dispatcher handles all that radio traffic and tracking the units and keeping everything organized.
The dispatch center a little bit. I mean, they didn't have to be involved in those operations. Obviously, if something had happened one way or the other, then they would have been aware of it. But it allows us just to focus on the event and have a dedicated dispatcher just working with the officers on the event.
Yeah, and it takes just a little load off of them. They're still listening to the side channels in case we needed outside resources, and I was messaging a lot with them through our mobile dispatch system. But yeah, it was fun to do. I hadn't done it in a while. I was one of the first members of the tactical dispatch team when they formed it, and I don't even remember how long ago, but I hadn't done it in a while, so it was fun.
No, good.
Yeah.
Well, and the events were successful. You're right. Then the next night was the fireworks. I did not go out for that event. I kind of stayed away from that one. But then I was out the next night, and it was the 4th of July parade.
Yeah, which is our favorite.
That is, personally, it is one of my favorites. You know, it's a parade down Main Street in America on the 4th of July. I mean, it doesn't get any more small town Americana than that.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't really small town. It wasn't 25 people with flags. It was hundreds and hundreds of people up and down Main Street. It was a great turnout. So I was very happy to be in it.
Yeah, no, it was a really great turnout. We
passed out a lot of candy.
Yes, you passed out a lot of candy.
I passed out a lot of candy. My shoulder was like I was pitching again. My shoulder was a little injured. The next day I had to ice it down. I was able to get through it.
Yeah, no, you walked the whole thing and you threw out candy the whole time. Yep. And it was kind of just you. We had some of our guys in our SWAT vehicle. And I think one of the lieutenants, his sons were kind of helping with candy too, but...
They kept bringing me new bags when I'd run out, which I needed. So
yeah.
So it was great. I hope you had a chance to come out and see the parade. There were a lot of floats this year. Again, Scott was MC and judge and
no judge, just MC.
Just MC.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Who did get awards in that? I never did hear.
They posted them on the Rotary Facebook page.
Okay.
So
I did not even think to look. Usually I do not get an award for being in it, but last year I was the Grand Marshal.
You were last year.
That was
that's
slick.
quite the award.
Yeah, that was quite the award.
So I'm sure best candy passer
category. That's a fiercely competitive one, I think. You know, usually I think it's the East German team has a tendency to win, and there may be some steroids involved in that, but that's a whole separate topic. So other than that, that was 3 busy days for us.
Yeah,
4 events in 3 days. They also had a big soccer tournament here in town that the PD was supporting our parks department in. So just an all-around very busy summer weekend for Farmington. This weekend we're looking at pretty hot weather, so I'm glad it was not that hot last weekend.
Yeah, and it was kind of nice to have that little bit of rain each day, and it just made everything a little more tolerable. It wasn't as hot as it could have been. This weekend, we're going to kind of rest and then get ready for Connie Mac, because Connie Mac is coming
Connie
fast.
Mac is almost on us, and we once again will be one of the big sponsors here for the mighty KSJE as they broadcast Connie Mac, and Scott says they're actually doing like a preseason, if you will, of the city tournament, to kind of sharpen their skills. And Scott, are you doing play-by-play for any of those games?
Oh, no.
You do not.
That doesn't happen. No, nobody wants that. Okay. Nobody wants to hear that. But thank you for asking.
I feel like
thank
the
you for
chief
asking.
does.
I
The chief wants
actually
to
do.
hear that.
I think we could get a petition up that says we want to hear Scott for the better part of 9 innings, just waxing philosophical.
No refunds.
Yes.
No,
so you're right. That's big. That's coming up fast.
Yeah, and it's exciting. It's exciting for our community, and I love that you can hear it on KSJE.
Yep.
And so it's good.
So you may get preempted next time, in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Next show.
Yeah.
Just putting you on notice.
That's true.
So be ready for that.
Preempted last year,
Yeah.
much to our chagrin.
That might happen.
Which was ironic because we were one of the sponsors for the game that interrupted our cop shop.
You preempted yourself.
So we kind of, we paid to interrupt ourselves. Yeah. It was freaky.
It's important stuff. Connie Mac's important stuff.
Connie Mac's important stuff. I adore it. I'm a baseball guy. So what other things are going on in the wonderful world of policing? Not all of them good across the nation.
No. There was the shooting over the weekend in Highland Park.
In Highland Park outside Chicago. Mm-hmm. And that was at a 4th of July parade, ironically. And those are tough. You know, we talk about how are we going to react to something, and of course you're trying to do some things preliminarily to prevent them, but you know, honestly, like any parade, it's just people showing up, and so you're just going to have a well-oiled reaction when things get going, because it's going to be very hard to stop somebody who just shows up with bags, and I think that's what this guy did. just got himself up on a building, disguised, is dressed as a woman, I think, had a dress on, and carried a bag and got up on a roof. So it was a tough spot for the police in that case, but I think they did get on him amazingly quickly and identified who he was and made an arrest. Ironically, he had driven up to Madison, Wisconsin, which is, of course, the capital of the state I'm from, and he was planning on doing more shooting in Madison, and then for whatever reason changed his mind. So that is, we're just having tough days with some of these, and I think at the core we're looking at other significant mental health problems with this kid.
Yeah, and I know that it's a hotly discussed topic right now, guns and mental health, and there's just a lot to it to unpack that it's a complicated topic. There's lots of different shades to that, but I think that mental health is something that just as a society we need to be paying more attention to, and
we're not doing a good enough job on it.
and helping people.
Yeah.
We need to be helping fellow people. Connection with people is important. We're social animals, and it's really vital to acknowledge it and reach out to people.
And this is an area where we can, once the events kicks off, it's hard for the police to prevent anything. But some of these we can prevent through stronger mental health laws that allow the police to interdict when we know we've got somebody who's off their medicine or who is slipping into crisis. And we do have that here in Farmington. We're very proactive about reaching out to other mental health providers and trying to get assistance for the person that's involved. I don't know that all areas of the country have that ability, and it's something really we've worked on over the last 5-6 years, where we're proactively trying to help before it turns bad. And we've seen it bad here in with the Aztec school shooting. We've seen when you can't get help, or when help doesn't get there in time to intercede somebody's plans. But when you look around the country, how many of these are caused by just pure evil criminals? Well, there's an X factor in that, but how many are folks that have significant mental health issues that people knew about, and we just don't get the job done in getting them assistance, and their plan continues on and it ends in a tragedy. So, but that is something over the last 30 years we have just really kind of collapsed in how we're dealing with folks who have mental crisis. And Scott had actually brought up before the show red flag laws. They're controversial, of course. Any gun laws really are controversial. I would say a couple of things on that. One, we don't need a ton of new laws. We need much better enforcement of the laws we've got on guns. So if folks are using guns here in San Juan County, I can tell you they're one of our top priorities. We're either going to get them into the Fed system where they can get some significant time, or we're working with the DAs to ensure that every possible charge that can be brought for using a gun in a crime, either violent crime or part of a drug transaction, that we are getting those people out of our community if that's what they're going to do. Legal gun ownership is good to go. It's when they take the guns and they begin to do illegal things with them. We need to be harder with what happens as a result of that. So creating new laws is X, but then you got to enforce the laws you got. But red flag laws in general are controversial, and we've used the red flag law here that was passed in the state a couple of years back. We've used it 2 or 3 different times on subjects, one of whom had been firing at our SWAT van in the middle of a standoff, and he was actually cranking rounds at the SWAT team. He was somebody that was in mental health crisis. We applied for the red flag law until such time as he got stabilized, and we were able to keep the guns until he did get himself together and finished serving his jail term for that incident. But it's not something we use daily, but it is an extra tool that when somebody is clearly a danger to the community or to themselves, it allows the police some ability to interdict what's coming.
I like the way that you phrase that it's a tool. We're not trying to maliciously do things. We're trying to help people, and I do think that was, with that particular case, that was a big focus, that we didn't shoot back.
No,
because we understood that it was a mental health crisis, and we were able to create the time and distance that we always try to do in any kind of those kinds of situations. So it worked out kind of the best way possible, and we were able to use all the tools available to us in order to help that person get help.
Well, and that's, I mean, that's really the goal of the police, ultimately. I mean, of course, we want to stabilize the situation. That means get the guy to stop shooting. But once he did get stabilized, once we were able to get him in custody and he gets into the system and he gets back on his medication, the guy actually is a decent guy. And he had a son who was watching him the best that he could, and that's like a lot of families in our country that are struggling to help their older parents. I'm getting closer to that too, as Nicole keeps pointing out. But
No.
that at the end of the day, once we were able to safely get him back into the system, he got back on his meds. He's actually a decent guy who was just going through a crisis. That's what we've got to do a better job of as a country of addressing. And it can't just be keep sending 24 and 25-year-old officers over to try and fix stuff. That's just an abandonment. And then criticize the heck out of them after they get there and things don't go so great. That's what really does frost me. As a society right now, we should be looking at what's going on and trying to do a better job. And I think we are here in San Juan County. The county has really stepped up.
The county has. I think that the gap analysis that they did, and then identifying that we needed a mental health resource center here and standing that up fairly quickly is really, really helped. And I know the sheriff's office has a deputy that works very closely with them, and then our CIT officers also work closely with the resource center. And it is something that we are actively aware of and addressing as best we can.
And since BBC is linked to KSJE, internationally, there was an assassination of the former Prime Minister of Japan today.
Yeah.
I believe it's pronounced Abe, and he was actually pretty pro-American. Relations with him in Japan when he was Prime Minister were very good. He was close. He was for strong stance against China and Russia in the South Pacific. And he was giving a speech, and he was shot apparently twice today and died, 67 years old.
It's wild. Wild times around the world right now.
They are. And so we're going to finish today like we don't usually. We're going to have Nicole sing Amazing Grace to us. Kind of send us off.
I'm so curious as to why you always want me to sing.
I think people need to be uplifted at the end. I just told them about an assassination, and now you're going to kind of sing us off into the next 2 weeks.
You're assuming that I can sing.
It's
and we
karaoke.
all know that I can't. That's why I rap at karaoke.
Well, we're gonna keep trying, and we'll see if maybe we can find a duet between Scott and Nicole, and I'll be kind of the moderator for that. But we'll check back in on that one. For now, make sure to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and have a great couple of weeks, and we'll
It may already be hard to believe that many in aerospace, in Congress, and even in NASA itself tried to keep it and missions like it from happening. Lori Garver led the fight for commercial space transportation from inside the space agency. Now she's written a terrific book about those years of struggle and much more. She'll join us in minutes to talk about Escaping Gravity. Later you'll have the chance to win a copy when Bruce Betts arrives for What's Up. There are images of our solar system that look way too good to be real. A great example is at the top of the July 1st edition of the Downlink, our free weekly newsletter. We can thank the Cassini orbiter and the team for this nearly edge-on shot of rings and 4 of Saturn's moons. Scroll a bit further down for a stunning photo of Mercury snapped by the European Space Agency